It is said that reality is stranger than fiction. Unbelievable, which is an 8-episode miniseries available on Netflix, is the true embodiment of these words. The series is the dramatized version of Pulitzer Award-winning article An Unbelievable Story of Rape, written by T. Christian Miller and Kane Armstrong. It talks about the troubled life of teenager Marie and what happens to her when she is raped in her own apartment and no one is ready to believe her account as no DNA was found at site. Let me alert you that this is going to be a spoiler video, so let's start. The series starts with the visuals of a neighborhood, and as the police enter into an apartment, we discover Marie Adler, who has been raped at her own apartment few hours back. An orphan by birth, Marie has been brought up by a bunch of foster parents and has experienced a troubled life. Currently, she is taking part in a social program meant for troubled teens. After the first investigation officer is done, Marie is approached by another pair of officers that inquired her for twice. These two detectives, Parker and Pruitt, made her retell the incident for multiple times. Days after this, she is taken to a hospital for physical examination and evidence collection. And again there, she was made to retell her version of the incident. You will see Colin, Marie's previous foster mother, is actually more supportive than Judith, who is her present foster mother. While talking to Detective Parker, Judith tells the inspector that Marie in the past has shown attention-seeking behaviors, and she doubts whether Marie is making up the whole story of rape and assault to gain more attention as an orphan. The detective duo fell for this assumption and started doubting Marie. So based on their assumptions only, Detective Parker and Pruitt pressurized Marie to admit that she is actually making up the story of rape and made her sign a form where she declared that she has made false reporting of rape to the police. This cost her trust of the program counselors and her friends. And the troubled teen started to lead a more secluded life. Suffered by the inexplicable loneliness, Marie even tried to commit suicide, but actually ended up to lead her own life at her own pace. Because no matter what happens, life goes on. In the beginning of the second episode, we see that Detective Parker has closed the case of Marie, and the media has reached up to her apartment as they have come to know that she has made false reporting. The incident left a grave impact upon her life. She also faced difficulty while concentrating at her work in a supermarket store. The counselors of her program too imposed a stricter curfew and other measures so that they can monitor her every movement. The story now moves to 2011 in Golden, Colorado, where we meet another detective called Karen Duvall. Karen lives with her husband Max, who works for the Westminster Police. Karen has recently started investigating a rape case in which a college student named Amber Stevenson has been sexually assaulted at gunpoint at her own apartment in the early hours of dawn. Amber Stevenson has informed Karen that she has noticed a big X-sized birthmark on the left calf of the rapist. While discussing the case with her husband Max, Karen is informed by him that a similar case is running with Westminster Police, and if she wishes, she can contact with Grace Rasmussen, his colleague, who is actually assigned to this case. So Karen went to Westminster Police to meet Grace Rasmussen. The initial collaboration of these two investigators has been shown as a strained process, which is actually very normal as they are two different persons of opposing personalities. Compared to the soft-spoken, sympathetic nature of Karen, Grace is tough, hard-hitting, and not a believer in religion. You will see that Karen is finding it hard to convince Grace that their cases are actually related and the same offender is committing this. The maturity of the collaboration process between these two is beautifully captured in the series. It took time, but they did develop a perfect chemistry that actually led to the resolvement of the case. Unbelievable is one of the most underrated series available on OTT platforms in India. If we look at the IMDB ratings of the series, it is rated 8.4 out of 10, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes and 4 out of 5 by Hindustan Times. In spite of its 2019 release, there are many among us that have not heard about it. If you enjoy watching investigation thrillers and do not mind if it's a slow burner, then you will definitely love Unbelievable. The fact that will blow your mind is the similarities in the societies both in America and in India. The series is an eye-opener about how the society puts stigmas on rape victims and how because of this, justice gets slipped out of their hands. Also, watch the series for some super realistic, fabulous performances, especially on the part of Marie by Kathleen Dever and by Merritt Weaver and Toni Collette as Detective Karen Duval and Detective Grace Rasmussen, respectively. If half of the police in any country become this much dedicated, I'm telling you, that will change the cringy equation between the police and the general public. Do you know what was the reaction of the real Mary Adler after she watched the show? As per Kane Armstrong, the co-author of the show, and I quote, "She told me she had just watched the series. Watching it was hard," she said. "I did cry quite a bit," she said. But she had decided she wanted to and was glad that she did. She called the show excellent. So movie montage review of Unbelievable ends here. And if you want to know how they got hold of the serial rapist and why it was so difficult to identify the smart offender, catch the series on Netflix. Let me know in the comment below whether you have liked it or not. And don't forget to subscribe Movie Montage to get more such updates of movies and series. Thank you and bye for now.